each other. These hateful attitudes are turning brother against brother. If we don't fix this soon, there's gonna be chaos in the streets. There's no more time to lose. We gotta stand and spread the peace. Spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late. Spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late.
Hello, friends. How are you today? Rick White here, and Lowell Pass with the Peace Police, our regular weekly Sunday broadcast. Say hello.
Hey, everybody.
We're happy to be here today, and you just heard our little theme song there. We have an intro and an outro to every part of the show. I actually played the outro at the intro, so it took a little longer, but hey, you know what? That's all right. It's, we're allowed to do that. We can change things up. So, how you doing, Brother Lowell?
I'm doing good, man. A lot of things going on to talk about, but I'll tell you what, first of the year, we got a wild year ahead of us.
Yeah, we do. We've seen, certainly has been an eventful week for news, I would say. And maybe we can talk a little bit about that. And like I do every Sunday, I'm going to ask you, Lowell, to just take that 2 or 3 minute period to kind of brief people. You know, we get different viewers every time. And these videos live on, and so we like to just give a little context as to what we're even doing here. So would you go for that, brother?
You bet. You know, about a year and a half ago, almost exactly now in the summer, not this past summer, but the one before, I had a series of dreams in late June that were recurring, repetitive type dreams. You have the same dream over, you wake up and go, man, why am I having that? And then the third time, I woke up and I called you that day and I said, Rick, I got to tell you about this thing. And so it was a kind of a vision dream of the paralysis between the two sides, the left and the right, and the political violence and hate and unhinged behavior that's going on between people. Now, gotten to a fever pitch to where people are at each other's throats. They're becoming violent. They're becoming physical with other people just because maybe they're wearing a red hat or a Trump hat or whatever, And we used to never be like that, but we've seen it over the last few years. And then after the election of Trump, this thing's gotten wild and out of hand. And I called you up and I said, in this dream, I saw on these people's shirts another group, a third group, smaller, but, they were shouting out and it said Peace Police on there. And they were telling both sides basically urgently, hey, knock it off before this gets to a point of no return. Knock it off. We don't have to be that way. We can be civil. We can discuss things and we can have peace. And
Right.
So that's kind of what I relayed to you. And you looked it up, and actually the name Peace Police was available, which I can't believe came right out of a dream and was available. Right. But we grabbed that. You came up being the artist that you are and songwriter with our theme song and even this logo. I think is awesome. And it has 3 stars in the middle of the peace sign. And they talk about our core values. So I'm going to turn it over to you. But we started this just as a grassroots movement. Not any really capital behind it or anything else, but we have several hundred followers already. And it's just basically a new peace movement for those who say, you know what, the extreme left, the extreme right, I'm with the 80% that want peace, and let's do something about it,
Yeah, that's right, Lowell. And it's so cool that happened almost 2 years ago now, because we didn't know then how things were going to change in politics, really, and what the trajectory was. I mean, we had a clue. That's why, we thought about this. But it's like each passing week and month, you're like, yeah, this is a needed thing. So I feel even more than ever now that this is the right thing. And so let's talk a little bit about that. You mentioned the 3 stars in our logo, which stand for the 3 core values, which are peace, civility, and discourse. And so if we dive a little bit more deep into those, you get a picture of what we're trying to do. This isn't rocket science. This isn't some highbrow philosophy of government or human behavior or any of that. You know what this is? This is kindergarten. This is the stuff you learned in kindergarten. And those three things are this, right? Peace, civility, and discourse. And what does that mean? Let's hit each one of them. Peace. as far as it's possible, try to be at peace with people. That's actually in the Bible. It was also what my kindergarten teacher, Miss Thompson, said to us. Hey, get along. Be nice to each other. You guys should be friends. Why are you fighting? Right? This is not rocket science. Peace. That's all. Are we saying peace at all costs? Of course not, right? Sometimes you have to stop evil. And sometimes stopping evil looks like unpeace. It looks like the opposite of peace, right? But that's because it's not peace at all costs, right?
Exactly.
And we're going to talk about that today with some events that happened recently. So that's peace. The second one is civility. You know what civility is? It's being civil, being polite, using your manners. And again, there are some times where no one's perfect, so you kind of lose your temper or whatever. But as a rule of thumb, we shouldn't call each other names. And if you that's right. And if you listen to us long enough, you'll realize that Lowell and I are kind of right-leaning people, and we voted for Trump. But that doesn't mean that we endorse when he says uncivil things and calls people names. We will call out when people on the right and people on the left mess up, not personally, but when they cross the line into incivility, and we do that with the president too. So that's civility. Be civil. I think our president could be more civil. He's great at a lot of things, and we could talk about that, and we will in a little bit. Anyway, and then the last one is discourse. Work it out. Talk it through. That's another thing Mrs. Thompson taught me. What's the problem here? He stole my pencil. Okay. Why did you steal his pencil? Well, I liked his better than mine. All right, well, let's talk about this. Work it out. Let's work it. Let's find a way for you two to reconcile. Man, I'm going to talk a little bit about something today. It seems to me, Lowell, that the far left and the far right, they're not interested in reconciliation. They're not interested in Americans being American anymore. I have a relative who I've had some fallings out with in the past who's pretty far left. I mean, like about as far as you can get to where, don't believe in the American system of government anymore and all this stuff. And this relative posted on Facebook that, hey, Iran, our president lives at Mar-a-Lago. Here's the address. Do what you need to do, kind of thing. And this person said it was a joke or whatever and tried to defend it, and even then said that they wouldn't be upset if the president was killed. This is why you got this idea and this vision that 2 years ago. I can say this with all sincerity, that even though I wasn't the biggest President Obama supporter, in fact, I was really disturbed and distressed by most of what he did, I never felt that it would be great if he were killed.
Never.
So
in fact, when things happened, when things happened, he took out bin Laden, and we applauded that act.
That's right.
We regardless of the fact that we were anti-Obama as far as our politics, he was still our president. That was still a defense mechanism, and that man needed to be taken out, and we applauded it. We didn't just categorically, because of who it was,
right,
reject that and oppose everything to do, which is what people today are doing, Rick.
Yeah, Lowell, that brings us to the topic, right? It's the elephant in the room, so you can't not talk about it. We're a show that talks about political current events, right? Well, the president took out Soleimani, the number one terrorist in the world, who's responsible for hundreds, if not thousands, of American deaths, things like beheadings. Just a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah, and even 5,000 of his own Iranian citizens.
Exactly. And I'm sure, because this is the way it works, we're going to find out here soon exactly what intelligence the president had about an impending attack from the world's most wanted terrorist, a pending attack. And so because of that, we use the military of the United States to take him out. Now, is that an assassination? No, let me tell you why it's not an assassination. Assassination is removing a political leader just because you disagree with the political leader and want to take over their country or whatever. It's not the same thing. This was a terrorist. In fact, the most wanted terrorist. And he was about to kill a lot of people. It would be like this, and well, I don't want to even bring up the Hitler analogy, but if you could take out Hitler, you would, right? If your military could have taken him out personally, you would have done that. So it's the same thing, but like we were saying, Lowell, it's amazing how many people are trying to make this something that it's not. And they're trying to say that Trump did it because of a diversion or for his own personal benefit, just like the phone call with Ukraine was everything's about his personal benefit. It's just not true. It's just not
true. Been wrong on all 11 things they've tried. Oh.
In fact, if Soleimani's plan would have gone through and Americans would have died, and then after that, we found out that Trump had the opportunity to take him out, but didn't.
Oh,
the same people that are screaming, So I guess one thing we can talk about today is consistency, and it's okay to evolve. It's even okay to change if over time you evolve to even the other side of where you started out. When I was a young kid, man, I was liberal, and I changed over time. It's okay to change. Here's what it's not okay to do. It's not okay to espouse a philosophy when it benefits you and then condemn that same philosophy when it doesn't benefit you. Now, we expect that from two groups of people, frankly. The media, because they just want to ride whatever wave is happening so they can sell products, shampoo and stuff, and get their salary paid. So we expect it from the media. And unfortunately, we also expect it from our politicians because contrary to what the founding fathers wanted, our politicians primarily are trying to save their job. So it's
hold on to power. That's right.
But the problem is, and I see my daughter-in-law, hi Bailey, she waved hello to us. The problem is now, unfortunately, most of us, we were the ones that kept the media and the politicians accountable. But now, most of us change our views based
depending on the whim to see.
The whim. I've heard people just condemn Trump for taking out Soleimani. And those same people said, Obama, listen, you say what you want about Obama, but he got bin Laden, didn't he? Wait, so it was...
It's unbelievable. It's like total blind hypocrisy,
So, I mean, we all have some hypocrisy. It's just kind of part of being human. Sure. But we should strive to be consistent.
Equal, consistent, a scale that is just. It is applied the same way every time to the same situation,
right?
The same way. That's equality. That's Lady Justice is blind. But also in our decisions about support, I mean, you may not support Trump, but it's like I heard this commercial with a guy he's a multi-billionaire, but he's in the race now. He's not part of a party really, but I don't even mention his name. But
right.
You hear the radio ads, spending millions on these radio ads, talking about the fraud in the White House and the failure and fraud. I'm going, well, if the guy in the White House is a failure and a fraud, I hope that from now on we elect failures and frauds.
Yeah, he's the least fake guy.
Have a basic standard of honesty about the best situation we've had in 55 years. I mean, it gets to a point where it's almost laughable if it wasn't so sad.
You're right. If you want to criticize Trump, fraud is probably the least accurate word you could use. Because politics is all about fraud. Politics is about people being somebody they're not in order to get votes, in order to stay in office.
Promises, false promises.
And this guy comes in and he just is who he is, warts and all. And there's a lot of warts. And he isn't covering them up. He's like, that's who I am. And people are going, oh my God, you're immoral. What would you prefer? Someone who lies to you and hides all their stuff in the closet?
And then tanks the economy and and goes for more abortion and whatever. It's
It's
like,
crazy.
come on now, we can name 456 things that are positive. I'm sure there's two or three, but I've tried to judge everything, including was that the right move, Trump? And I think there's two or three I disagree with.
Yeah.
But you got to give the scale the 450 on the other side. I mean, come
Right.
on, it's like,
Well,
really ridiculous.
and the stats don't lie, right? The economy's better. You can talk all you want about how you feel, but we are doing better. And I have a feeling, I could be wrong here, but I have a feeling that the new leader of Iran's Revolutionary Guard probably has to have serious rubber underpants right now because we
can't sleep.
Because we took out the other guy, and guess what? You get to replace him. My point is this: by doing what Trump did, he sent a message that will find you and take you out if you mess with us. We have needed someone to say that for a long time. Stop messing with us because we'll take you out.
Stop sending him $150 billion and all that stuff. I mean, come on. You and I didn't even speak out against that.
No.
When Obama sent cash money untraceable cash money by the billions, pallets out there to support a terrorist funded. I mean, they fund most all the terrorism, Iran, in the whole world.
Right.
And we didn't even speak out. He was the president, and we just shut up about it.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, folks, here.
That's right. Difference. And you're right, Lowell. So you know what it's about? It's about whether you're being played or not. I think that's one of the main things we could talk about as the peace police. Please don't let yourself be played by either side of the political aisle, by anybody. Don't let yourself be played by Trump or Pelosi or Schumer or people I like who is I can't remember his name right now. I'm blanking. John McCain's friend, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham. I love that guy. But don't let yourself be played by anybody. Be your own person. Look at the facts because it seems to me, unfortunately, that instead of holding the media and our politicians accountable, we're just picking a side and then giving a get-out-of-jail-free card to everyone on our side, but everyone on the other side picking apart every possible word they've ever said as some proof that they're the Antichrist or whatever. It's just crazy. We've got to stop this. We got to think for ourselves, and we got to not align blindly to a side and think that they're always perfect, because that ain't true, man. And
if you don't think you can be deceived, then you're already in the process of being deceived. So any of us need to be teachable and can be on our alert against anything, even that looks perfect.
That's right.
I mean, I always like to approach things. You know me for 4 decades now.
Right. That's right, brother.
I always like to approach things like, when I hear something, even when my initial instinct is to agree with it, I always try to say, you know what? I'm going to dig down and do due diligence and drill down on that and see why that's not true. And I try to go and see the other side and attack that position. And then when you find you can't attack it because the statistics and the facts are true, that's when you say, but you have to have the open-mindedness to drill down, do due diligence,
that's right,
and then accept actual facts. Now, if you think there's no such thing as objective truth or facts,
right,
then we'll never reach any of those people,
That's right. And it's unfortunate, Lowell, that there's not every one of us in America drills down the way you did. And maybe that's one of the messages we want to bring for the peace police is the tactic that can be used to cause civil unrest and fighting in the streets is just giving people an emotional message that they don't check out. And if you can get enough people on your side who are just blindly following you and not doing the research, then both sides will do that, and we'll end up with fighting in the streets. It takes effort. And
it takes effort. In fact, I want to just say this one thing I saw several times, but just recently, even another reporter that went out and was in a liberal type area of the country and walked around with his microphone in the video and say, "Did you think it was terrible of Trump when he did this or said this?" And they would all say, "Yeah, absolutely terrible." I said, "Well, it was Obama that did it."
Right.
It's like they just don't know the issues.
Right.
They don't know the platform, the policy, the positions. They just have clung on to a type of hatred, like you say.
That's right.
That is instinctive, emotional hatred.
Yeah, we're too busy picking sides, and we pick a side, and we just say that's my side. It's like which denomination do you belong to, or which football team do you follow? I pick a side. I'm a Democrat, and that's my side, and I'm gonna excuse their mistakes and extol all their benefits. And the other side, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna pick up all their mistakes and make sure everyone knows them. And if they do anything right, I'm gonna tell them it's wrong. We can't do that anymore. We will collapse as a society, because what happens is it sounds like a conspiracy theory, right? But there are manipulators out there that are trying to manipulate us. And if we let them manipulate us, it's over. They win whatever big media wants or whatever politicians want, which is really unfortunately, the natural case of the human heart is to want what's best, to self-aggrandize yourself, right? To satisfy you. We're not other-centered. We're not naturally just being kind and benevolent. Everybody's in it for themselves. That's the truth. And so that's why we have the government we have.
There are agendas.
That's right. So that's why we have checks and balances, and that's why the people are supposed to hold the politicians accountable. And we should hold our media. You know how you hold your media accountable? You turn the channel. You don't buy the products. As soon as
the other thing too is you can't be in the PC crowd. You can't be in the politically, just because your friends are all one way and they don't know why they are either.
That's right.
They just are, or it's politically correct, or somebody might get offended. I mean, it's to the point where, the people that have the 63 gender agenda, 63 different genders, and then you just simply say, look, if you ask any biologist or scientist, you can pull your pants out, look down, and which are you, A or B?
Right.
There's not that many different genders. Okay, there's two, but people are afraid to even say that now, so they just go along with the whole tide of that whole thing because it's politically correct.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that's a danger too, Rick.
It is. Well, it's like the boiling of the frog that you used to talk about in some of your sermons a while ago. You put a frog in hot water, he's just going to jump right out. But if you put him in room temperature water and turn the burner up just a little bit, he'll stay in that water until he's cooked, because he doesn't have the shock of the comparison. We've done that as a country now, to where too long, to where, again, we're actually having a discussion right now about whether it's okay to say that there are males and females. If you'd have said this 50 years ago, if you'd have gone to, I don't know who was president 50 years ago, if you'd have gone to Kennedy or someone from that era and said, hey, guess what? Real soon, we're not going to be able to say whether someone's male or female anymore, because that will offend people.
It's already happening, yeah.
It's happened.
Yeah.
But it's been this slow thing over time, because
over time. Yeah.
And we've got to just have the ability to think for ourselves. So
now, and think about this, Rick. It doesn't even shock people anymore when we've gotten to 5 states who say that a baby can even be born, and they'll just keep them comfortable on the tin pan or whatever until the parents decide whether they can snuff them out. Now, I mean, come on. You didn't just get there overnight. You got cooked and cooked and cooked, and it's supposed to be infrequent and few and far between.
That's what they always said.
Now it's like, yeah, I know.
Wow. That's amazing, Lowell. What you just said is amazing. Again, the frog in the pot. Think about 50 years ago introducing a bill that says parents have the right, even after the child is born, to decide if they want to keep it, and if they don't, we can kill the baby. People would have said, you need to be in a mental institution for thinking such a thing. We're going to lock you up because you're criminally insane. But now, 5 states. Wow.
Yeah, if that's enlightenment, I'll tell you, that's dark.
We're going in the wrong direction. That's why the Peace Police exist. Let me talk just a few minutes about the website and the hat and the various things you can do. So I'm going to switch over so that you guys can see the website here. Let's see. That's it right there. Let me fix a couple of things here. So this is peacepolice.net, and check it out. There's some cool things on there. One thing you'll notice is the hat. You can see it right on the front page here. And Lowell and I are both wearing this hat, and you can get them from our website for $20 plus shipping. And there's some deals on there where you can get more. And the benefit of this hat is if you look at it, you know a couple of things. It's patriotic because you got red, white, and blue, and you got stars. It's peaceful. You got the hand sign of peace, and you got Peace Police. And it is the biggest conversation starter because people look at it and go, "What is that? What is that?" And when they say that, you can say, "Here's what it is. It's an organization. It's a group of people that are just saying, hey, whether we're liberal or conservative, whether we're Republican or Democrat, we're Americans first." And we should seek to get along. That's what it says. Peace, civility, and discourse. And man, everyone I've said this to has said to me, "Wow, I support that." And they say it whether they're hard left, hard right, or right in the middle. So if you're not the kind of person that wants to go kind of inflict your politics on others and get into deep discussions where it's a little scary to do that, maybe just wear the hat and then tell them about the Peace Police. You can also see the Become a Patron button on there. If you click that, you can help us. Even $1 a month could help us. If you go to core values, you'll see those 3 things we just talked about: peace, civility, and discourse. As soon as the internet comes back, yeah, there you go. So it talks about those things. If you click on theme song, you'll see the lyrics to the song that you heard during the intro, and you can go get that. You can play it right from the website, but if you go over here where it says Spread the Peace, right below it, you can click on either one of those things. It'll take you to iTunes. You can get the song. The song costs 99 cents. We get about 60 cents, 65 cents out of that. We're certainly not going to get rich off that, trust us. But any money that we take in from the hats, donations, or from the song, all we're going to do is try to produce more content, better content, and get it out in more places so that we can try to snap people out of this stupor that they're in and get more common sense into our brains. So that's what we'll do with the money. Join the Peace Police. If you click there, you can agree to these 5 statements. They are very basic. They have to do with those 3 core values. And if you can agree to that, you put your first name, last name, and email address in and click Generate Certificate. And you get this really cool certificate you can put on your wall that says, hey, I stand for peace, civility, and discourse. If you click on Message from the Founder, and you can send people here. You know, if you like what we're doing, send people here and let them read about how we started. This is from Lowell. And Lowell talks about, you know, what he said in the beginning of this broadcast about how these things happened, how we became who we are. Then there's Know Your Rights, a good place to go that we just talk about what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do based on the U.S. Constitution. You're allowed to stand in the middle of the street and talk about your politics. You're allowed to even say some things that are offensive. You're allowed to. You're not allowed to start riots. You can get in jail for that. You're not allowed to put your hands on people, you know, so it's good to know that. And then we'll finally go to shop. This is where you can buy the hats. You see the different deals on there. And we'd love to see this get out. Why? Because we actually really care about this. It's not about us making money. It's not about any of that stuff. What it's really about is spreading the peace and getting the country back on track. So with that, we'll go back to our cameras here. And that's kind of what we wanted to show you today. Lowell, it's been 30 minutes. You believe that? How quick it goes?
Yeah, I think we need to wrap it up, but it's been a good discussion. Sorry if I got a little bit passionate there. It's still within the realm of peace.
Don't be sorry.
Some things trigger me, especially when it comes to that topic of letting a baby be born.
Yes.
And I think what you said today is the main message. You have to be consistent. Don't be one way with one and one way with another. Be consistent in what you believe, even though we believe sometimes different things. We discuss them and we have discourse with peace and civility, and that's what it's all about.
Yes, that's right. Having love be your motivation is a good thing.
Kindness and love.
Kindness and love. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We're glad to have you here. We hope to see you again. God bless you. Till next week, spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late.
Spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late. Spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late. Spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late. Spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late. Now brave men died to keep you free. They paid the greatest price, so you could speak your mind and live a long and happy life. But I turn on the news and see us fighting with each other. These hateful attitudes are turning brother against brother. If we don't fix this soon, there's gonna be chaos in the streets. There's no more time to lose. We gotta stand and spread the peace. Spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late. Spread the peace, stop the hate. Let's work together